Hi, welcome to the Brush and Broken. Today you're just going to be doing a short tutorial on how to paint battle damage for Orc vehicles.
Okay, so what I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to be using this Orc truck to demonstrate how to do a load of different techniques on it. So this week we're going to be doing how to do battle damage and sort of wear and tear on these plates here. And you'll be able to use that to go around and do the rest of the plates, like the underside of the truck, inside this section, and the whole thing, just so you can get it so it looks nicely battered, plenty of chips to the paint, that kind of thing. Okay, so this has all been sprayed with Citadel Macragge blue, and all we're going to do now is use Citadel Averland Sunset and Mephiston Red to do these small panels here. Now this battle damage technique can be used on any vehicles. I've used the same one on the Death Guard Land Raider, which painted, and we'll be doing a tutorial at some point on how to paint Death Guard Rhino, which you'll be able to use to paint other Death Guard vehicles using the same techniques. But at the moment I'm having a bit of an Orc kick, so I just want to have a play about with this first, like so. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is a really quick and easy method of doing battle damage. And all we use is a little piece of Citadel packing sponge, like so. Now what we want to be doing is dipping, for most colours, if you dip it into black, like so, and then you just want to get rid of the excess so there isn't too much on it. And then you're just going to place that against the metal wherever you want wear and tear. So around these little windows where it's been badly cut out, you'd want to put a little bit around there. Now the good thing about sponging this on is that it leaves an uneven edge around the windows for when you put the metallic on. It also gives small chips all over the paintwork that you can then add a little dot of silver to, and that'll show up as a chip in the paintwork. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add a little scrape to the side of the truck. So all we do for this is use the sponge, dab off the excess black again, and then you're going to scrape it from the front to the back in one stroke. Now if you don't get the right size scrape, or you want to have it a bit bigger or a few more streaks to it, you can just repeat this process until you've got the size and the shape that you want. And once we've done that, we're going to move on to just sponging on some black and adding chips to the rest of the paintwork. Now we're just going to be adding some Citadel Leadbelcher, and that's going to be added to all the areas where we've just put the black, but you're going to be leaving a little outline of the black around it. So for example, if we're looking at this piece here, now you don't have to be 100% accurate with this, because it is battle damage, so it's not going to be even, and it's not going to be crisp on every point. So you can afford to, if you maybe overspill on the black outline, go onto the blue, it doesn't really matter too much. Once you've added a few shades to it and mix that up a little bit, it'll look fine as is. What we're also going to do while we're doing this, you can do the inside of the windows. So that all the bits that look like they're exposed metal, you want to be painting the same way. Just give them all a coat of Leadbelcher. And then where you've got the streaks here, where you've got the scrapes, you want to hold it this way because you want to paint in straight lines, so you want to be painting downwards, and just drag the brush down. Now you'll see me not actually making a mark at first there, and that's because I'm just trying to work my way towards it without getting too much of the brush on at once. And again, you don't need 100% cover with this. You want it to look like a nice uneven scrape, as though maybe it's gone against the wall or another vehicle, some trees or whatever they've been driving through, maybe other orcs. And you want to be getting all the lines straight, so it mainly looks like it's been going in the same direction. If you get some that go off the other way or off on a tangent, it's not too much of a problem. As long as the majority of them are all going the same way, it should be fine. And the same on the red and the yellow, you want to be doing the little spots of silver on that too. Also, because they're Orc plates and they're never very good, you want to add silver edges to them as well. Like so. When we come back, I'll have all this finished. Now the thing that I like about painting Orcs is because they're quite dirty and grimy beasts, For sections like this, I'm not usually too bothered about putting on a shade for the separate sections, as you would do normally before you did the battle damage. I just use, once all the silver's put on, Citadel Nuln Oil first to dull all the silver and go around all the bolts and around the edges for all the plates and things like that. The reason to do this is because it's a nice base for levels of grime to build up. It also takes the shine off the metal so it doesn't look like it's all just been freshly scraped away. You can add, as I'll show you at the end, some shine to it to show bits that have been freshly scraped away, but generally it dulls everything down and makes it look a little bit dirty, as though it's been well worn, not very well cared for. On the sides, when there's large areas where you put in the shade, it doesn't matter if it dries too streaky. It gives you quite a nice look of dirt build up in some of the little nooks on it, or maybe there's certain areas where someone's put a dirty hand on it or what have you. When we come back, I'll have all the Nuln Oil finished. Next we're going to be using some Agrax Earthshade. This is going to be to add a little bit more grime to the panel, make it look a bit more dirty. So you want to be adding this around all the nuts that are on it. So you want to be adding this around all the bolts, all the bits of metal, in any of the joins or the creases, or the chips. It'll just make it look like dirt has built up in those little nooks. The good thing about Agrax Earthshade is, once you put it on, if you don't think it looks grimy enough, you can always add another layer to it. The more layers you add, it tends to build it up and build it up. So I do sometimes add maybe 3 layers of it, depending on how grimy you want it to look. In fact, in the case of this chain rasp, the blade on that is probably about 3 or 4 layers of it. So you can build it up depending on what kind of effect you want with it. Like so. Now I'm just going to add a little bit of Typhus Corrosion. This just to add a bit of texture to build up some rust. I'm not going to be using as much as I do on the Death Guard miniatures, but there will be some little patches of rust that will be around the bottom edges of things where maybe the water collects and hangs around and rots away at the metal. Also remember, when you're using Typhus Corrosion, always use an old brush, because it does ruin brushes really well. Like so. The next colour we're going to use is a little bit of Ryza Rust. We're just going to use that to discolour the texture paint that we've just put on and give it that rusty look, and also to just add a little bit of orange to some of the other parts of the metal where maybe they have started to rust and corrode. Like so. The final thing that we're going to do now is just use a little bit of Necron Compound, which is a great little dry paint. It is really good for doing orc vehicles and armour and anything that you're doing battle damage on. All you need to do is get a little bit of that on your brush and just dry brush it around the edges. Now, because it's a very light metallic, it shows up really well around the edges and just gives them that worn look. Makes it look as though maybe it's been scraped or someone's been leaning on it or anything like that. That's just giving the metal a little bit of a shine. So you can do that along most of the edges. That just brings them to life. If you get a little bit over the paint, it's an orc vehicle, it doesn't matter too much. like so. So that's how I do the weathering and the corrosion and the damage to Orc vehicles. If you do that around the whole truck, on the insides here, on the other sides, all around the front and any of the armour plates, you can get the truck looking really, really good.
Thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and if you have, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel below so you don't miss any future content. Also think about following us on some of our other social media linked below. Thanks very much.